You might look at me and ask, what the hell could this guy possibly know about mental health? And I'll tell you, a lot more than most people. Hello and welcome to Cory's Corner. I sit before you in all of my glorious ugliness here today with this weird thing on my forehead and my hair being all messy and but whatever. So joining us today is Ryan Roger Athay. Welcome back, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, apart from my voice. Surprise, folks! It's only been a day, and since, or has it been a day? No, 2 days since I was on Saturday Night Hypnosis. My voice was completely fine. My voice was fine yesterday. It was fine this morning when I tried to make a few videos, and then it all collapsed, and that's why I sound like my age now.
Sound like your age. Yeah, he totally sounds in his 20s for sure. He doesn't sound like he's trying to imitate Batman at all.
No.
Just saying.
No,
Also
no,
joining us
no.
is Jason Fox,
Hey, hey,
awesome guy
everybody.
from over at 540 Studio. How you doing today, bro?
Doing pretty well, man. Had some problems with my condition with the chronic disease that makes me tired all the time. So I've been sleeping way too much lately. And since we are going to talk about mental health, that also goes with the mental health stuff because it does affect
Indeed.
me and people that has it. But other than that, I'm pretty good. Been working on some music actually. So yeah.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I myself am having a bit of a rough mental health day, mostly because I am in incredible amount of pain right now, and it's too early for any type of pain management system. I'll tell you that much, because if I were to smoke any right now, I'd be retarded the rest of the day. And none of us really need that. If we're being honest, none of us need a retarded Cory. So we'll do our best to avoid
So
that.
you're telling me you're not a retard right now? Is that what you're trying to
Not
tell me?
not yet. It's
Not
on a
yet.
it's on a
Okay.
downward slope, and it leads to me being stupid. Well, I'll probably be full retard by Dick's News International tonight. So we'll see how that goes. Let's say hello to the chat. Vince Womack, greetings and salutations, sir. Always wonderful to see you here. One Man Show, greetings and salutations. He says, mental health ain't what it used to be. That's no joke. I mean, and in regards to my face, he says nothing a mallet wouldn't fix. Tried that. I've been hit in the face with a sledgehammer before. It didn't do much for me. And of course, hail to Nate D. Glad to see you here, sir.
Hail,
It
brother.
should be an interesting discussion today. We're going to go over the big three things that fuck everybody's mental health. We're going to go over some basic life stuff that most people catastrophize into a mental health breakdown, and we'll touch on a couple self-care things here and there. But
Yep.
yeah, all in all, One Man Show has said it 100% correct. Mental health ain't what it used to be, and it's
Not at
becoming
all.
it's becoming markedly more difficult to maintain a healthy mental health status
Yep.
because of
And
the
not
craziness of this world.
yeah, and with that too, you have all these mumble rappers who uses it for their music
Mhm.
and you have some of the mumble rappers also sexualize, suicide and all that kind of stuff. And I hate that. I really hate that they do that. Music is not supposed to be about that. If you're gonna make music about mental health, please do some real music about it, some emotional music, something that actually brings something to the table, not like this
Right.
little Peep and the little Pump or those people, because they're like, oh yeah, suicide is great, come to me, listen to
Yeah.
my music. It's
And they're fucking retarded, in my
they
personal
are.
opinion, when they do that. And speaking of things like that, 21 Pilots, most people are aware of them,
Yeah.
one way or another. The lead singer of 21 Pilots was actually spurred on, let's say, to do music by his mental health counselor because
Yep.
he or she realized that it was an immense benefit for him to do. And that's actually what the entire album Blurry Face is about, is him
Yep.
managing his
Yep.
mental health. The song Stressed Out is about him. It refers to a process that we call naming the problem. If you give it a name, it becomes less powerful. So what he did was he named his anxious, neurotic side Blurry Face. And that's the name of the album and stuff. And, the song, of course, is mine. Part of it is my name's Blurry Face, and I care what you think. Like, those are the two things that he's supposed to identify with this problem and then work on. And I don't know if he's actually been successful in managing his mental health, or if he's taking the route of Chester Bennington or whatever, where he's all like, oh, I'm going to sing about like being depressed and stuff. And everyone's shocked when I go self-delete. It's like, what, come on. I don't think the 21 Pilots guy is going to do that, but you never know. Vince Womack says, I only know one song from them.
It is in record levels, which is unfortunate, as we see the spread of mental illness all across Western civilization. Doesn't seem to be a problem in parts of the second or third world, maybe because they don't bother to record it. They're too busy trying
primary issue. Yep.
They're too busy trying to feed themselves and clothe themselves and trying to get here. So
right. Hail to mass grave. Good afternoon to you, sir. And you're absolutely right. The problem with mental health on a broad sense, applying it to all of humanity, is different cultures view different things as maladaptive behavior or So Massgrave says he's only heard of 21 Pilots, more garbage 90s music. They came out in the 2000s, but close enough. Anyway,
Cory is cosplaying as a black rapper.
No, I am cosplaying. No, I am doing my usual cosplay of a functional adult. Just not very well today. But that being said, different cultures view different things as mental disorders. In the Asian countries, for instance, they have a kaifusho, I think it's called. I can't remember the name of it right offhand, but it is a mental disorder where you become overly neurotic about how you smell. And it causes massive problems. For instance, another instance in the Asian worlds is a phenomenon called losing face. Now, a lot of the times when we talk about losing face, it is people just lose their public appearance and they no longer seem as good as they used to be. And that's the same thing in the Eastern countries, Asian countries and stuff. But the biggest difference there is it's, in their minds, losing face is the same level of severity that we place on major depression. And so, like, major depression isn't even the same across all the countries.
And in China, the depression level is really high in the level, especially in China also, for example, because they're so strict with their children, and you have to be good at this, you have to be good at school, you have to this, you have to get a goddamn job.
And you have to be a boy, not a girl.
Right. They're finally suffering the consequences of that. Just saying, hail to Sean Landrigan. Awesome to see you, sir.
But no, that is the big fad down there. So that's why there's a lot of suicide, a lot of mental health, and why you hear about it all the time that, some people down there commit suicide, and it's just like, and they don't get the help that they need either, because they really don't care that much. It's like, you have to do this and that. They're really strict on that.
It is. And of course, here in the United States, the main reason most people don't go to seek mental health counseling is because of the stigma that's attached with being in something like that. Most people are like, oh, well, then I'm just going to be seen as crazy and nobody will trust me. I'll lose all my friends, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, a lot of people do think like that.
It's, it's the public appearance outweighing your personal health is stupid as fuck.
And it
Maybe
doesn't
they should become a content creator and start a podcast, because I legitimately think that most fellow creators, including all of us,
Mhm.
have to be mad to do what we do, because the establishment don't want us to speak our minds,
Indeed.
ladies and gentlemen, but we want to speak our minds and do what we enjoy. Uh, Looking at schedules alone, I'm amazed that more people are not just going nuts because of
Right.
all the schedules. I mean, I had a talk on Saturday Night Hypnosis behind the scenes and in front of the camera in regards to unions and why so many fellow creators are anti union. And you had commenters who were pro union talking about why folks are anti unions. It's quite simple. Can you imagine content creators? Oh, my voice feels a little better. Can you imagine
sounds a bit
content
better.
creators having a union? I seriously
Yeah. That
joke.
I can't even imagine what that would look like.
Hmm.
Like, welcome to the
Mm.
annual, to the monthly meeting of the Online Streamers United
Mm.
Yeah.
International,
The
or whatever
Dix
they would call it.
Division Trade Union.
And it's like, oh well, the host's internet went down, so we have to wait a little bit until we can get another server set up. Hold on,
Yeah.
guys. And then 6 hours later, somebody finally pops in and goes, "This was a
Yeah.
thing," and it would be a fucking clusterfuck. Like,
Yeah.
Mental illness
seriously.
is a concern among content creators. My niche
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
analyzing fellow creators, and going batshit crazy is an ending in a creator journey, and I have seen a
Yeah,
few examples of that
many
over the
times.
Yeah.
last few
Yes.
years.
Yeah.
And part of that is because a lot of streamers get wrapped up in the stress of becoming successful at streaming instead of just sticking to their guns and enjoying what they do. That's one of the reasons I don't mind the slow growth over here. I've
Mm.
stopped paying attention to analytics. If you're a
Yep.
content creator out
I
there,
agree
just
with
listen
that.
very carefully. Stop paying attention to analytics. They're great to tell you how far you're going and stuff like that, but all they'll do if you focus on them too much is break your mind. And you don't need
Yep.
that. Hail to John Edgar. Hello, my friend. Great to see
Yep.
you.
That
Massgrave
was
says his uncle was a sheriff who was shot by union members in the street.
Mm.
Wrong button. To be fair, he was fighting to break a strike up. Well, that will happen.
yep.
Um,
And
Trade
no,
unions were far more powerful in the 20th century than they are in the 21st century, especially for the United Kingdom. I don't know about the United States, but when it comes to mental health and well-being, it is a greater concern because, putting it this way, folks, we live in a tornado these days. All sorts of things are going on. Creators like to talk about anything and everything. It's very difficult to keep a track on things. So no wonder everything is topsy turvy, and no wonder so many fine folks and fellow creators are going batshit crazy.
Indeed.
yeah.
So, One Man Show says, I tried therapy. My last therapist gave me a pamphlet on coping mechanisms and sent me on my way. And this is one of the biggest problems that we have in the United States is the laziness of the mental health professionals to actually do
Yeah.
their fucking job. And
Yeah. In
this
Norway
pisses
too.
me off. Yeah, he knows. Yeah, Norway is fucked as well. I've
Yep.
gotten a glimpse at their mental health system, and I'll tell you, it's just as bad as the United States, if
We
not
we
worse.
we we can say it just like that. I'm blacklisted from social
Yeah.
help. So social care would help with my with the therapists and everything. I'm blacklisted because they can't handle my opinions when I actually get pissed when they say stupid fucking shit. And then they're like, "No, we are just gonna blacklist you." They did it 3 fucking times on me.
Mm,
One time I was on vacation. I told them I was on vacation and knew about my vacation. They didn't care. I said I could, talk over the phone. Nah, that's not good enough. The other
yeah.
time I was sick. Still not good enough to talk on the phone, apparently. And the last time, there was two things that happened. One, the new psychiatrist that I had, she called me, mentally retarded. Like she basically called me a retarded person, and I need more help with people that she wants to send me to a person who works with people with Down syndrome, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you on about? Like, what the
Downs.
fuck?
So you don't
Really?
feel trans today, Jason? Are you sure
No.
you don't want these
No.
pills? We've seen your psych evaluation. You have many feminine traits. You are attracted to these people.
No, but
Take these pills, you'll feel way better. That's how insane these fuckers are, folks.
Mm-hmm.
That what
uh,
I just said is something that a trained psychologist could well say
Yep.
in
yep.
the early 21st century.
So the last thing that drew the line for me was when one of my old friends, she got killed in Oslo some years ago by a motherfucking psychopath. So that was really heartbreaking for me and her family and friends. So I told my psychiatrist that I lost my friend and all that, and then they're like, "Oh, but this is the great time to come down here and talk." Yada. I'm just like, "No, I don't want to deal with the psychiatrist. I don't want to talk about it with you. That is a psychiatrist. I want to go through this with the family and friends, and we are coping with this our own way and together. And that's the way I want to do that because that's the only way I can move forward." And
Yeah.
after those two things, that they got so annoyed by me apparently. So I got so fucking mad because of those two things, trying to force me at the last straw there. So I sent them a long fucking message about how bad they really are. And I said right straight out, people like you guys, are reasons why a lot of people like me actually starts thinking about committing suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Because you make us feel bad. You make us feel worthless, like we're nothing in this fucking world. Because you're just breaking us down all the time instead of helping
Yeah.
us.
That's why content creation is sort of the amassing of the forgotten people against
Mm.
the establishment. Doesn't matter if you're prominent or an up and coming creator. Doesn't matter if you have the support of
Yeah.
hundreds or the
And it costs
support of
way too much
millions.
money.
Mm.
Way too much
Mm-hmm.
money to be social help. They're like,
It
"Oh,
does.
it's free in Norway. You get so much free
Ha
shit.
ha ha.
Yeah, that's why I have a big debt at the
Mm.
psychiatrist that I have because I couldn't. Every time I had a fucking time there, like I had a schedule to meet them, I didn't have money to pay them. That was every time I didn't have money. That's when I had an appointment. I'm like, I can't pay, and this is too much for me. It's like,
Well,
why do I have to pay so much? It's just, yeah.
and that's another issue that I have with therapists, especially here in the United States. A psychotherapist worth his salt will not work for the lower income people. They will focus almost entirely on rich people with fucking bullshit problems that don't actually suffer from a mental disorder. They're just looking for anxiety meds. And any therapist worth their salt basically tells, like, someone like me, for instance, who's on Medicaid, I get access to mental health treatment for free, but I have to go through the government approved people
Yeah.
who are fucking licensed social workers, okay? Social workers, not psychotherapists. They're not like licensed practicing therapists or counselors. They are fucking social workers.
They're
And
government sponsored child predators, is what
yeah,
they
and
are.
in my opinion, trusting a social worker with your mental health is like asking Dahmer to set up a dinner party for you. Okay, it's not a good idea, and it's absolutely stupid. And we have a comment from John Edgar here, very honest comment, and I thank you for this comment, sir. He says, "I know a bit about this topic. I'm embarrassed to say. You should not be embarrassed. Not on this stream, not ever, my friend." He says, "I'm on several medications for complex PTSD, and you are dead right about therapists. Same thing happened to me." And there we run into another issue, is the reliance on medications. Therapists, specifically psychiatrists, because they're the ones who are allowed to literally throw pills at any problem that presents itself,
Yep.
jump straight to psychopharmacology. And the problem there is psychopharmacology, especially on its own, is only successful about 40% of the time. If we're being honest. When coupled with psychotherapy, that increases to about a 60% success rate. Psychotherapy on its own is sitting at about 55% success rate, depending on the disorder. And the problem there is they want to throw meds at you so they don't have to deal with actually
Mhm.
rebuilding your emotional strength.
Oh, you
And
feel depressed? Take a pill. You feel like this? Take a pill.
exactly,
That's
are
what
you
they.
oh
That's
my
what they do.
gosh. And
Yeah.
your body is literally built and programmed to regulate these things on its own.
Yep.
And when you start introducing secondary medications, secondary substances, these things to fix it, your body stops producing the normal neurotransmitters and stuff you need to regulate more successfully. And we will get into the big three, which plays into this directly in just a sec.
They're very financially based
Mhm.
institutions, and if
They
you
are.
want to know something about therapists, folks, just not watch. You can watch, but also play GTA 5, and you'll find out what therapists are like. Yeah.
Right. Nate D says, I don't have mental breakdowns, can't break what's already busted. I feel that. I feel mentally broken a lot. And luckily, my training and my life has taught me how to manage that successfully.
Yep.
But a lot of people feel that way. Like, I
Yep.
don't have breakdowns because I'm broken all the time. And I understand
That
that's a
sounds
joke,
like
bro.
America.
But yeah,
You
that
can't break something that's already broken.
right. And then One Man Show says, I gave up on therapists. Too many negative experiences. These days, I have to work on my. I work to address my own problems and issues. This is actually something that's also very, very common. He says he tried happy pills, but his body didn't like them. And
Yep.
again,
No, but that is
medication.
true. That
But
is true. It's like many years I was just like, I'm not gonna take medications from like psychiatrists and stuff. They were like, oh, you need happy pills and all that kind of stuff because I do have borderline disorder.
Yeah.
I do have that. And that have caused I have PTSD at the same time because of a really rough past that I'm not gonna go fully into.
Right.
But I refused it because I know how my mind works, and I was afraid to become a drug addict. But unfortunately, later on in life, I started doing drugs and a lot of fucking drugs through my life. My body was ruined. That's why when I was a singer, my voice got fucking ruined also because of that. So I can't sing as proper anymore as I did. But other than that, I went into the whole thing with doing drugs, and then at some point, I was finally starting to stop with it. I was like, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna do all that, and then I started to get physical pains in my one testicle that I have removed. So I started to get physical pain, like hardcore pain down there. It took like 3 years. I had 3 years with pain before they did anything. Maybe it was 4 years. I don't know, but what they did was just give me tramadol on tramadol on tramadol. That medication. Then that's a strong medication.
That is a strong med.
And I tried to tell my doctors.
Then that's a strong medication. That is a strong.
That was an
You're
echo.
echoing there, Lester. Hail.
Hello,
to the
Lester.
Hey,
skeptic
Lester.
Good to
Um,
see you.
So
Your creator name is a bit of a blooper fest, so I'm just going to call you Lester.
But what happened is that the goddamn doctors gave me those pills, and then I went back on my drug abuse, and then my drug abuse got even harder, and I'm like, I need more tramadol. So I ate tramadol like a fucking candy, and then I mixed it up with Molly and alcohol, and it just got worse and worse and worse. I OD'd once. Luckily, I fucking survived. I did not call the fucking hospital or anything because I know I would have been dead if I did. So I fixed it all by myself, and that's how I have treated my mental health. Is I need to find my ways to help myself instead.
You can't trust the establishment in this day and age, especially in the Western world. But
indeed, before we move on, John Edgar, he says, good to see you, gents. However, briefly, actually on my way to a regular doctor checkup. I sympathize with Jason on the PTSD. Take care, my friends. Take care of yourself, bro. I hope everything goes well. And I do hope that you have some effective management strategies for your PTSD and stuff like that. So Lester, how you doing, bro?
Well, I thought I'd jump in on, I think there was a segment where you guys were talking about saving face. And I lived through that. I still live through that.
Yeah, it's one of the things that carries over into the Americanized versions of the Asian cultures as well. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. So go ahead.
Oh yeah. But then the more important topic, because I don't know if it's a credit to my tiger mom's way of treating my mental condition. And then you guys were talking about the either the misdiagnosis, the entrusting of probably the wrong people. I just
Yeah.
wanted to. I don't know if I heard the word neurobiology or consulting a neurologist. And the thing that struck me about that particular segment is at least the arguments laid out is that there are parts of the brain which control certain functions, mainly the
Yes.
ones around cognition. So it's like we're going to a therapist, we're going to a psychologist, we're going to a
Yep.
someone other than deals with neurology.
Right.
Yep.
Is it a matter
That's
of but yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's actually a very common thing that people tend to overlook with mental health problems is because when we as counselors and stuff start structuring these types of things, we look at the biopsychosocial environment of the individual. Bio, of course, being the actual medical side of things, like are they in good physical health? Do they have physical problems? Do they need to go see a neuroscientist, to get some like biofeedback therapy so that they can understand like these the pathways inside of your limbic system aren't working correctly, so therefore it's triggering an increase in your adrenal system activity, and that's causing your anxiety. Something like that is manageable through your medications. But a lot of people just assume they'll go talk to somebody and it'll be a one-stop shop kind of thing. And the problem there is if you're going for, say, cognitive behavioral therapy, that person is probably not trained in biofeedback. If you're going to a dialectical behavioral therapist, that person is probably not trained in either biofeedback or, like choice therapy, which a lot of people need choice therapy, which we can get into here in a little bit. But the
Sure.
biofeedback is actually incredibly important. And a lot of things that people don't recognize are from their diet. And we'll get into more detail in that. But one of the people on your care team, if you have the ability to establish a care team, should be a nutritionist. Because your nutrition directly affects your mental health in every way, shape, and form. And like I said, we'll talk about that in just a sec. I want to get to a couple comments from Sean Landrigan here. He said, my mom took me to therapists when I was a kid, and I was prescribed shit like Ritalin, Concerta, I don't remember how to pronounce that.
Spanish word.
Yeah, whatever that is, Zoloft, and none of them helped. And he says, thankfully, I stopped using meds into high school. And when I was a child, they tried the same thing. And it's because they didn't have a great understanding of ADHD at the time. I was one of those cases where Ritalin didn't help. It turned me into a zombie. And my parents were like, is he okay? Like, is he gonna be able to function? So they took me off the meds and I was fine. They realized over time that I just needed challenges more so than just the everyday monotony of bullshit that can't keep my attention. So of course, then they got me into dog sledding and like all this other shit that ran through my school, and I balanced out a little bit. Then I found drugs, but that's a different story.
No, drugs found you, Cory, and
that's a fair point.
Them again.
That's a fair point.
The drugs found you.
Vince Womack says, I have literal brain damage. Part of my brain where the emotional blah blah system is ruined. And that does happen. Unfortunately, that's another part of the bio side of things is you have to a competent therapist knows the person's medical history. They got an accurate history. Because if you don't have an accurate history from them and their friends and family, then you don't have enough information to actually treat this person. If you're treating a person for major depression and you're unaware that they have a brain injury, a traumatic brain injury, then there's a chance that you're not going to be successful because you're not accounting for the brain injury, which could slow down their learning abilities, emotional regulation. It could slow down their processing speeds. And a lot of therapists don't allow their clients to take the time to process the information. They go, 45 minutes, we're going to stop now. They say it's an hour, but it's only 45 minutes. You only ever get 45 minutes because the
Commercials.
therapists will say it's because they need time to work on the notes and blah, blah, blah. But the reality of it is the billing cycles become prohibitively expensive after that 45 minutes. Let's be honest. And the insurance company won't pay past to that point. And that's another huge part of the problem is insurance companies not being willing or able or whatever to treat and cover treatments for mental health. And
after all, this is an industry. This is a financially based institution. And in my view, as someone who's reality based, in order to conquer the scourge of mental illness, you need to be reality based, not financially based
Indeed.
in your actions and decisions, because the human mind is far more valuable than pieces of paper, plastic, or metal.
Right. Massgrave says, where are all the free drugs I was promised? I was wondering the same thing, bro. Honestly, like when I was a kid, they were like, everybody's going to be throwing drugs at you. I'm like, okay. One Man Show says, my early mental examiner's solution was to have me skip grades. Bunch of geniuses never considered the impact on my social development. And that's one of the things they fixed in education these days is they don't have you skip grades anymore unless you're performing at a like 4 or 5 times higher than your classmates. Otherwise, they put you in advanced placement classes, which are much better because it allows you to socially develop with people your own age while mentally developing at your own pace. But that being said, it's not always good for everybody. There's a reason that schizophrenia kicks in so hard when you're transitioning into college. And it's because the stress levels go from I'm stressed in high school to holy shit, what the fuck is going on in college? You know, the smartest people in high school are functional retards in college. And that's the important thing to remember. The stress levels of everything that we deal with do affect us.
Well, I remember when going to school that we had a wide range. We had people from ages 11 to ages 16 interacting with one another, which could be a bit controversial to all you Americans, especially since in the UK, the legal age is at 16, which I know Americans really don't like, culturally speaking. But all you could interact with so many different kinds of people of various ages and maturities. And I thought personally that was a good thing to get different perspectives. But
right.
For the US, you have that sort of divided into middle school and high school and then college/university. So there are different ways of doing things. And it just goes to show there is no one solution, because if there was one solution, we would be doing
much better off. Yeah. Over on the Rumble side, hail to Cremator. Always awesome to see a new face. So let's talk about the big 3 things that fuck up everybody's mental health. So I call it the 3 hates. Okay. And what it is we all are familiar with hangry, right? Where you're so hungry that you're pissed off. So that's one of the things. Okay. It's if you hate other people, if you feel like you hate the entire world, the simple solution, instead of giving into the anger and being a douche, is to eat something. 85% of the time when you have an uncontrollable anger towards people around you and towards the world in general, it's because you're hungry. Now, if you're in a starving situation, then obviously that's much harder to manage than if you're in a stable situation. But a lot of people don't realize that when you're at that level, like road rage incidents and stuff, I guarantee you if those people would have eaten a sandwich before they left the house, probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah, dude, I can agree with that to a certain point, man.
And that's a big part of anger issues that I'm seeing today is people probably aren't eating correctly. It's something we touched on in the past is your nutrition directly affects your mental health. And
it really does.
When you're loading up on sugars, especially like artificial sweeteners and stuff like that, it just fucks your whole system up.
You will feel bad. You will be mad. There's so many
Mhm.
things that will happen to you. We all have
because
experienced it, So
And it puts
everyone
your body into overdrive as well.
Mhm.
It's like you can't sleep. It's
Yep.
like you can do things for hours and hours on end. And I can attest to this as a creator who had quite the quite the spell of making lots and lots and lots of videos. That's
Mhm.
because I was damn well high on sugar.
Yep.
Well, and everybody thinks that the balanced diet thing is a cliche.
Mhm.
And in the most parts, it's an inaccurate cliche because a balanced diet isn't the same thing for every person. This is why I
Nope.
said that a nutritionist needs to be a part of a care team if you have one. And that's because, like, for me, I'm an ectotherm. So I need to pump my body full of as much food as I possibly can just to maintain energy levels.
Yep.
Let alone if I actually want to gain weight or something. Like, I'm one of the few people that can be like, okay, well, my diet today is going to consist of 5 of these 3,000 calorie fucking Big Macs or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'll be fine. But like
Mhm.
when you're dealing with someone who has a different body style, let's say Ryan, for instance, he would probably not benefit from my diet. It would probably make
No.
him feel like shit because I pump
Mm.
ungodly amounts of shit into my system.
Yep.
Like I'll eat like 6 waffles in a single sitting, followed by 3-4 eggs. I'll jump that up with some, like pineapple, and I'll just throw everything that I possibly can into my system
Yep.
just to gain my energy levels. Now with Ryan, it might
Mhm.
be something more along the lines of he might
Mm.
need a slightly carb heavy diet, not
Mhm.
like I'm just going to eat breads because that's a stupid diet. But
Yep.
That's my
he's
diet:
Oh,
sandwiches, pork pies, Jaffa cakes, mince
and
pies, milk,
so realistically, he
meatballs.
would probably benefit from some fresh greens and some, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Good still image of
It
Lester.
is.
I think I should use
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
No,
If
this is
anyone
what
wants to screen grab that,
Mhm.
there
Very
you go.
good.
No, it's what
Um,
I do is that I mix it up all the time with some, more carbo food to more salad stuff, and sometimes more sweet stuff. Like I mix it up because I have a eating disorder, and I've been living with my eating disorder for God how knows how many years. And so I had to like figure out how I should eat, what works for me. And I used to, puke a lot of food before. I used to be
right.
like really obese when I was really young, and then I did at some point, I started to puke up food and all that. And so what I did is that at some point when I started with working out, and later on in life I started with intermittent fasting. And the reason is because it worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but because of my eating disorder, it works. Because then I have like a 6 hour to 8 hours, depends on how I want to do it. I switch it up a little bit sometimes, but then I will have everything that I need in my body to feel good, feel like I'm gonna go through the day and stuff like that. So, so I found out that helps me to become a little bit calmer, a little bit better. My body gets what it needs. When I, you know, what I used to do before was just eating shit, drinking. Well, I still drink energy drinks, but not
Yeah.
as often. But I used to drink energy drinks all the time, eating candy all the time. That's why I fucking became fat. But Um, but when I got older, I had to I have to do this because I want to lose weight. I want to feel better with myself. I need to find a strategy that works for me, and that helped a lot with my mental health. To a certain point, of course, but that helped a lot, and I'm trying to maintain that to this day. Well, now I have a partner, so it's not easy to do it all the time because my partner is really good at making food, like this 10 out of 10 food. So it's like, but I feel happy after I eat my partner's food because
Hell yeah.
he knows how to do it.
My eyes get bigger when Jace says partner. It's like, oh, no wonder he's ill.
Oh, ouch. Well,
Yeah, I'm in a gay relationship, so what?
it's important to have a good nutritionist, and it's like, how do you coalesce and reconcile a lot of the literature? Because In all honesty, you don't know who to believe. That is I think, if anything, an elephant in the room when it comes to what to eat, what not. And I would say, especially nowadays, with a lot of folks who have these disorders, whether ADHD or whatever you want to call it, what is the other one? Autism. So they talk, and it's like, oh yeah, got to be on a gluten free, got to be on this nut allergy thing. It's not just isolating those; it's just figuring out what induces greater amounts of inflammation in one's body, and that's very personal. And so the extreme on the care would be using what is known as the autoimmune, which is super duper duper strict.
Right.
You would be thinking like, my life's miserable, food is miserable, because you don't know what will trigger you. You know, it's like it's that. The other part is that, like with Jason having his partner, I have my parents when I visit. When I was on that paleo stick that I was on, I was about as much of a douchebag as the next person, dude. And it because I was very strict about it.
Yeah.
And
like a vegan. Like, you have to eat this.
It's don't get me started on vegans, which is the biggest hypocrisy known to man. Anyway, but it's like, how do I tread the line where I can make the 80-20 rule work, or the 75-25 rule work? Because you don't want to make the perfect the enemy of the good.
Right.
And all the while you keep your sanity in some ways. Because when I started doing the paleo thing, I felt much better than I ever felt.
Yeah. And well, so for time constraints, we're going to jump into the second of the three hates. And that's feeling like everyone hates you. All right. A lot of people experience this, and they have absolutely no idea why. I got news for you. Take a fucking nap. Okay. When you feel like everyone else in the world hates you, it's typically because your body's not producing enough energy to cause endorphins, dopamine, serotonin to be produced into your brain. And without those things, you get into the depression stage. And then most people assume that it's a depressive disorder or a depression issue, when it's really a sleep-wake disorder. And again, hitting on the cliches, if you go to bed at a reasonable time and you get up a decent clip after that, then you'll feel better. Now, a lot of people have trouble with insomnia and stuff like that. And one of the best ways to deal with insomnia is to stop looking at a screen 2 hours before you go to bed. Read a book, give your eyes a break completely, do a puzzle. It doesn't matter. 2 hours without the screen gets your body to start producing melatonin. Melatonin causes you to get tired. And melatonin cannot be produced by the body if you are in a light saturated environment. So staying up and playing video games until 3 o'clock in the morning is the reason you're super depressed.
Or just get my disease, you sleep all the time. If you get my disease, you sleep mostly all the time.
That's why I thought, on the last time I was on the Hypno show, I'd wear a green hoodie, hide my eyes so I don't have to stare at a screen for 3 hours. I looked like a cross between the mouth of Sauron and Emperor Palpatine, and I couldn't see, so that was a bit disconcerting, but it was an interesting experiment. It was also too warm, so I had to take it off. But something like that, creating a character out of it, it's a way of sort of experimenting, learning what to do, what not to do, and understand that we're all on our separate journeys, and hopefully mental illness does not drive us all to insanity.
Right. And another thing that you can do for your sleep schedule is regular physical exercise. Your body stores up energy and it needs to be used. Now, what most people don't realize is your energy for today came from yesterday's food. Your energy for right now is coming from what you ate roughly 10 hours ago.
Yep.
You know, so
Working
if
out
you
is a
wake
good
up in the
thing.
morning and you feel like shit, then guess what? You should probably eat something.
Yep. And working out is a beautiful way to become tired later on because you're
It is.
using energy and everything. And if you don't like, if you don't like working out, just jerk off for hours. Maybe,
Right?
you will.
Oh my.
just fire that shit out like it's a minigun.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
And
But
it helps though.
but the problem with the sleep portion is a lot of people these days are absorbed in the FOMO, the fear of missing out. So they're constantly on their phone looking to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, what's going on now? Oh, damn.
And then the second thing that they have is they feel they can't get bored. Like you're not allowed to get bored. So they will inundate themselves with entertainment, screen stuff, work, etc., etc. And this also fucks with your sleep schedule. If you don't have a good sleep schedule, then your life's not going to function well, and you're going to make a lot of negative assumptions about everyone around you. This also plays into whether or not you think you're being successful in what you're doing. Because the more tired you are, the more you feel like a failure.
Rampant paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing
Yep,
more and
that can
more
happen.
in recent times because everyone is terrified out of their minds. The future is not set in stone. We are living in a tornado. No wonder everyone's going insane.
Right. Vince Womack says, I am the only one that hates me, and it kind of irritating that other people like me, and follows that up with a smiley face. We'll get to that. That's the third type of hate that we're going to talk about. One man show says,
is Vince Womack a straight white male? He
I'm
shouldn't
assuming
hate
so.
himself for being a straight white male. He should be proud to be a straight white male.
So one man show says, sleep and I are ships passing in the night, sometimes in the morning or the afternoon, never for very long. And of course, stress does play into your sleep schedule. The more stressed you are, the less sleep you get. And that's where self-care will come into it. And we'll jump right into self-care after we touch on the third one. But Vince says, technically, my sleep is screwed up because of you guys, dicks and companies, with streams starting at 3 or 4 a.m. Well, I mean, no offense, Vince, but if you didn't live in that part of the world, it'd be earlier. Gosh. But hail to release the McCracken. He says, it's a turquoise person waving. Wow. That's a weird emoji. Just going to say that. Vince says, I whip myself daily because of Ryan. What? Yeah.
No, you shouldn't do that sort of stuff, Vince. It can lead to many bad things.
Now, the third type of hate that most people will experience is self-hate. You don't like yourself. You think you're a piece of shit, etc., etc. You beat yourself up over every little thing. And as weird as this is going to sound, when you start feeling that way, take a shower. I can't tell you exact science behind this one, but when you take a shower, it automatically improves your self-image. It improves the way you look at yourself, the way you feel about yourself, the thought processes you have regarding your own personal appearance and well-being and effectiveness, efficacy, everything. Human hygiene is incredibly important. Okay.
Yep,
and it's not just important because we don't want to smell your fat ass on the subway. It's important because you need to feel good about yourself in order to live your life.
That's why I
if
say
you're a
work
raging
out and
piece
take
of
a
shit who
shower.
hurts other people, then that's a different story. But
Yep.
if you're an
But-
average Joe, then yeah, work out,
Work
take
out.
a shower, eat some
Yep.
food. Your
You
whole
will
day
feel
will be
great.
better.
I will promise you. You work out, proper workout, proper diet, shower. All those three things together will help you so fucking much. And I have experience with that too. So, because I work out, I eat proper as much as I can, and I try to sleep as regular as I can. But with my condition, it's kind of hard.
Right.
But I'm trying, to do my best with it. It's so yeah. You just shower. You just do the best out of it. It's like I say, life's too
Yep.
short, make the most of it. So don't be
And
a fucking lazy ass, don't be a fucking pussy, and just fucking do it, and your life will be
yeah,
better.
and as the video that I watched to do my daily workout says, your body doesn't care if your mind is motivated. It will do the work regardless of whether you feel like doing it or not. You just have to push your body to do the work. And that's what I do most mornings is I wake up and I go, I don't want to work out. And then while I'm doing my walkout push-ups, I'm like, I fucking hate this. I should just stop doing this. And then as I'm finishing my third set, I'm all like, this was stupid, but at least, you know, like my body doesn't hurt anymore, you know, and then I
And
get through the yoga.
hopefully this process is easier for folks who are in relationships who can do it together. Wink,
Yes.
wink, nod, nod in any way, shape, or form, because physical exercise is very important, no matter how it is done. I can
Indeed.
assure you, ladies and gentlemen, I am not bigoted, but offensive comedy is all I know. So there we go.
I love offensive comedy, but
Mhm.
so those are the three big things that most people don't consider. If you hate other people, eat something. If you feel like everyone else hates you, you need to take a nap. If you feel like you hate yourself, take a shower, you know, do something like that. But it all boils down to self-care. Okay. And most people have a really shitty self-care regimen. And I say that with all honesty. 90% of the people watching this stream, 90% of the people on this panel have a shitty fucking self-care routine. Okay. Massgrave says, I hate people while I eat. I'm not saying you should eat with other people around at all.
Why don't you just eat those people? You could just eat those people. Just don't eat the brain.
Cannibalism, while legal, is still frowned upon. And yeah, in case you guys didn't know, cannibalism is still technically legal in the United States. Getting the meat is what's hard. But
make America physically disabled again. I want some leg.
So self-care can range from something as simple as sitting down in a quiet space for 15 minutes to something as complex as running a marathon, doing, you know, Ironman competitions, stuff like that. Different people need different self-care, but it's important that you integrate the three portions that we talked about into your self-care routine. Make sure you're eating regularly, sleeping at least enough to feel rested, and ensuring that you take care of yourself hygienically. And the things that most people, especially adults, overlook when it comes to self-care is the value of childhood entertainment. Okay. I know it's kind of creepy to see a 40-year-old man playing on a swing set sometimes, but I've done that. I'm like, I'm going to go play on the swings because I just need a break from adulting. And so I go do it. Play with some fucking Play-Doh. It can be the aromatherapy Play-Doh if you really want to get hippy-dippy about it, but just play with some Play-Doh. Make a fucking Play-Doh penis. Who cares? Just do something.
Get some Lego.
Yeah, Legos are a great self-care thing. You know,
look, a Chinese eye.
There you go. You know, creativity is good for self-care as long as you're not relying on it solely as a crutch. It's like anything. Your self-care tactics and techniques are useful if you don't overdo them. And that's where most people don't get it.
And also, if you want, you know, you can try to learn some Tai Chi or yoga or something like that, because that really helps. I do a lot of meditation. He mentioned it too. Yeah, it's like normally when I do meditation, what I really like to do is actually when I shower and then I sit down and then I meditate at the same time a little bit when I shower. And that's something I've done for years, and that helps me a lot to contain myself calm. And Tai Chi, you know, I train Tai Chi and other martial arts, but Tai Chi, you know, it's more about finding your Chi and finding, you know, be calm and learn to concentrate and all that. It really does help.
It does. And, you know, several of the people in the chat have said the same thing. They're often overlooked, meditation and yoga. especially by the male population. And you're 100% on that. Men need to get more comfortable doing yoga and meditation.
Yeah.
Because I do it all the time. I do yoga every single day. And since I've started doing yoga every single day, I have noticed a marked increase in my mental health quality.
I think most men would be more in favor of it if they could do it with attractive women.
Okay, so all of you guys at home, go check out Yoga with Cassandra. It's a 30-minute, completely prop-free yoga workout. It's made for 30-minute beginner yoga stretch is what you're going to be looking for with her. But it's a fantastic workout. It will challenge you to do them correctly, but at the same time, you would feel a million times better. And she's very attractive. That's very nice drawing.
Thank you. I drew it on wood.
Yeah, I saw that.
Chinese wood, so
yeah,
it will fall apart eventually.
Mass Graves says yoga is great. It's how I seethe and gain my dark side powers.
Oh
yeah, do it. Yes. One Man Show brings up a great point here. Legos cost as much as a black market pancreas these days. You're not wrong. Legos are getting crazy expensive. Vince Womack says, I started yoga because of back pain. And cat and cow is great for lower back pain. I love yoga. Just saying. Ha! You speak of Cassandra and Ryan shows his wood. Yes, he does. Man. But one of the more important things to speak about with self-care is the dedication it actually takes to the routine. A lot of people are very lazy, and it's conditioned laziness, and conditioned laziness is very hard to break.
When you see especially all the kids today, for example, that's a good example. They sit on their fucking asses and they're on TikTok all the fucking time, and they do nothing else with their fucking life.
Yep. One Man Show says, you love yoga, but does yoga love you? Sometimes it's a cruel dominatrix that's like, I will whip you. And then I don't feel so great. But anyway, but you have to consistently engage in your self-care plan. Like Vince stated here earlier, go watch some cartoons, like while you're eating your breakfast, since you probably shouldn't be exercising while you're eating, sit down and watch some cartoons. Choose your favorite cartoon from your childhood and watch an episode while you eat your waffles or while you eat whatever, that takes your mind off of the day ahead of you and allows you to just live in the moment.
I do that a lot too, with mostly anime. That's what I normally do then, I will watch some anime that I love and eat some food and just relaxing. And just like, I'm not thinking about the world. I'm not thinking about work or anything. I'm just like, I'm just going to enjoy my time, watch this anime that is funny, weird and stuff like that, and just enjoy my time.
Yeah. And then with the consistency, yes, life gets hard. Even when you have an effective self-care regimen, life will kick you in the nuts. It's about understanding that it's the maintenance of the self-care routine that's beneficial, not just doing it. It's just like exercises. You can do 100 push-ups one day. That doesn't make you strong. If you do the 100 push-ups 6 days a week for 9 months, then you'll be strong. It's about your dedication to it. And you have to, in order to be dedicated to something like that, you have to understand yourself. And this is where it all boils down to, is self-care is about you. And if you don't understand yourself enough to build this regimen, then you need to take time to actually evaluate yourself. Evaluate where your emotional reactions are coming from. Because we've all been pissed off in traffic, but are you pissed off at the person being stupid, or are you out of balance because of something that happened earlier? You have to be able to look at yourself. And this is something a lot of people refuse to do because you get to see the negative side of yourself. the side that you're trying to push away and that you're trying to make better and all this other stuff, you have to be able to confront that for any of this stuff to be effective. And that means you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, is my life working for me? Is the way I'm living actually beneficial to me? And a lot of the times, people will lie to themselves and say, yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. It is what it is. And the reality of it is like, maybe you shouldn't be watching porn until 3 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up to go to work at 6.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of just giving into the fatigue and buying the whole family a giant bag of shitty burgers, you'll go home and you could cook something. I know it's a pain in the ass, but there's plenty of recipes that you can make up in less than 15 minutes that most people has the ingredients for right now.
You can make something healthy and good at the same time.
One Man Show says, strangely, it sounds like you're trying to say the majority of people don't suck. I'm not saying that at all. Okay. Do not let today's live stream fool you into thinking that I am not a misanthropic piece of shit. Okay.
You are in
I'm
America.
saying this. I am in America. So keep that in mind, as Ryan points out. But beyond that, we have to keep in fact that I have been jaded by humanity to the point that I think they're a fucking disease. Does that stop me from loving other people? No. Does it stop me from wanting to help other people? No. I still don't like humanity. Shocker. But the reality is, humanity would be a lot better if they took the time to take care of themselves.
Yep. And I agree with that 100%.
And
these two are aliens.
And I'm not saying that, individuals absolutely fucking suck. That every person in the entire world fucking sucks. Humanity as a whole, if you think about Jurassic Park, the quote makes sense. People as a whole suck. All right. When you get a large group of people together, it's just terrible.
I thought
individually,
that was Men in Black.
People are wonderful. What's that?
That quote was from Men in Black or Men in Black 2.
Was it Men in Black? It is. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it is Men in Black. See, I'm kind of tired. I'm all over the place. All right. But Masquerade, the lady boys on the TV don't love me. No. Yes. they don't love you at all. I don't even think they love themselves at this point. Vince, of course, corrects me because he's a wonderful mod and he does things like that. It is MIB. People are dumb. Yes. And that's that. It's a Men in Black. Okay. There. We've established that. But that quote is 100% right. And that's how I see things. Is an individual is worth time. The collective can fuck off. And that's why this conversation isn't aimed at broader society or whatever. This is the individual being taken care of. You have to be able to take care of yourself or you're completely useless to the rest of the world. You have to be able to eat correctly, sleep correctly. You have to bathe yourself regularly. And most importantly, you have to be able to forgive yourself when you make a mistake. All right. There's a lot of guilt being carried around unnecessarily. Okay. Yes, it's been instilled in you by your parents. Yes, it's been instilled in you by your dick ass piece of shit girlfriend or boyfriend. Yes, it's been instilled in you by your teachers. That guilt is unnecessary and unjustified. You have to be able to forgive yourself for any mistakes that you make and be able to grow from those. Learn from them and move on. Stop beating yourself up over everything.
That's what you need to do. That's why, again, life's is short and make the most of it.
And we're running out of time, folks, because the combat robots are going to come out of the factories, and then we'll have a whole host of new problems.
Indeed. And of
course,
especially
if they look like us.
One Man Show reminds us that in America, it's National Cheeseburger Day. So make sure you go out and...
Hey, good thing that I ate a cheeseburger today then.
Right? Masquerade says, forgive and forget only me, though. Forgive yourself never forget anything. Be very selective
Yep.
about forgiving other people and make them earn your trust. But that's a different
Yep.
conversation altogether. For now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and wind down so I can go.
Clean.
No,
Eat.
probably. I got some power waffles I'm going to go eat. But anyway, Ryan, what you got going on? Where can people find you?
Well, thank you all very much for watching, folks. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel and to all the fine folks here. You can check me out at Ryan Roger Athay. I am the host and founder of Reality Based, and I think I will be a guest of Words of Paradise at 10 p.m. UK time. I think. My memory is not that good. But hopefully I can put that in the Me on Other Shows playlist, just like this show will be on the Me on Other Shows playlist. As for videos, I've made 2 videos today where I sound as bad as I do now, and I'm sure I'll make a few a day for the rest of the week. So thank you all, and have a great day.
Hell yeah. Thank you, sir. And definitely make sure you're subscribed to Ryan over at Ryan Roger Athay. 1999 is what his tag is there. So, Jason, what's up?
Well, for me, tomorrow we're gonna have the typical The Beyond show, and then again on Thursday we're gonna have the Beyond show, and there we have shows on Sunday sometimes, not all the time, but we do have a 5cast with me and Chris there, and we talk about normal pop culture and stuff that happens. So there's a lot of stuff that we are gonna talk about tomorrow. A lot of new stuff that have happened. And also I'm working on videos from streams and also working on new merch, and I know that you have one of the hoodies, and when I saw it,
It's
it looks
so nice.
fantastic. I'm happy to finally see it. That's the
Dude,
one that's
it's-
wearing it.
And it's super comfortable.
It is. I'm really
Yeah.
happy with that. But other than that, it was fun being here. Thank you for having me. And like I always say, like my great grandmother always said to me, life's too short, make the most of it. And we in 540 and we in this panel, we would not been here today if it wasn't for anyone out there. So thank you for the support and love, everybody. It means a
Hell
lot.
yeah.
And fuck the mental health and be strong. And
Word.
don't let the mental health destroy your life. Stand on your feet and fight, no matter how hard the world will be.
Indeed. Lester, what's up, bro?
Oh, nothing. Just probably gonna put something together with my latest GOG.com finds, especially when you hear the news about certain remasters of certain games. So I just said, well, what's the worst that can happen? I go find the OG Battlefront or OG Dark Forces. And if you haven't gone to GOG.com, you should, because at the very least, you have a copy of the game you can keep for yourself. So if you haven't gone to GOG.com, spend a few minutes there. You'll be surprised about a number of the good deals they have around this time or whenever. You might find some oldies but goodies.
How much did they pay you, Lester?
No, nothing. I pay them.
Oh my!
That's how you know it's a good company.
And the other thing is they support PayPal Pay in 4 if that's your jam. I'll say that much. I don't think Steam does. I don't think Epic Game does. Nor do I think especially EA does. So I rest my case.
Hell yeah. Make sure you're subscribed to the Skeptic Tank here on YouTube. He does some awesome content. Ladies and gentlemen, catch me tonight. Dick's News International number 3 coming up. I don't remember what the topics are offhand, but it's Canadian lawsuit that has some serious implications for the rest of us. And I know that sounds strange because we're not in Canada, but these guys are punching way above their weight, in my opinion. And
sounds
it's
fun.
crazy. But tomorrow, there will not be a Cory's Corner because I am going to go pick up a load of antique furniture to refinish with my wife so we can keep/sell some of that stuff. Part of my self-care routine is
that what they're calling it now in the community, Cory? Furniture?
You funny. Yeah, furniture. Yeah, just do it. Yes, Vince, blame Canada. It is their fault. But catch me tonight, of course, Dick's News International, but more importantly, catch me on the Monday Night Meltdown with Comics Division and the other Dick's Division boys. It should be an interesting time. And while I have your attention, make sure that you go over to Nick Weiser's channel and tell him happy birthday. I don't think he's told anyone that it's his birthday yet, but make sure you go tell him happy birthday. And if he asks who told you, tell him Cory, and then he can't get mad because who gets mad at this face? Everybody does, but it doesn't matter. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you have a wonderful time today. Stay safe out there. Stay sexy. Don't get murdered. And do some self-care. Go play with some Play-Doh. Watch some cartoons. Do some good stuff. All right. All right. He says it's too late. He already got murdered. Wow, man, Vince. We'll catch you later, Sean Landrigan, and everyone else in chat. One Man Show, Mass Grave. All you guys have been fantastic today. John Edgar, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. And I do hope that you all have a wonderful time. We'll see you later. Push.